I should have kept my mouth shut. That's the thought currently racing through my elongated skull as I stand in the tactical combat lecture hall, my two arms gesturing at the holographic display floating above the center stage. My dark slate skin shimmers faintly under the overhead lights, that metallic sheen that all Riftborn possess pulsing in rhythm with what I thought was confidence. Now I'm realizing might have been stupidity. And as you can see, I continue, my small orange eyes scanning the tiered seating where my fellow cadets sit, the human skeletal structure is remarkably fragile. Their bones contain a hollowness that makes them susceptible to fractures from even moderate impacts. I tap one of my extra-long fingers against the hologram, zooming in on a human skeleton. The image rotates slowly, and I can see several cadets leaning forward, fascinated. My bony ridge crest tingles with satisfaction. I've been preparing this presentation for weeks, determined to prove myself as the top tactical student in our cohort. Additionally, I add, pulling up a comparison chart with my other hand, their muscle density is approximately 40% lower than the galactic average. They possess no natural armor plating, no reinforced cartilage, no secondary skeletal support systems. By all objective measures, humans are physically inferior to nearly every species in this academy. That's when I hear it. A sound that will haunt me for the rest of my potentially very short life. Someone is laughing, not a polite chuckle or a surprised bark of disbelief. No, this is a full wheezing laugh that echoes off the reinforced walls of the lecture hall. I turn my narrow head, both orange eyes focusing on the source. It's the human. Dorian sits 3 rows up, his stocky build sprawled across the seat designed for species twice his size. His messy dark hair sticks up at odd angles, and that perpetual grin on his face has widened into something that looks almost manic. He's doubled over, one arm wrapped around his midsection, the other slapping his thigh repeatedly. Oh, that's good, he wheezes between laughs. 40% lower muscle density. That's hilarious. My shimmer pulses faster. Irritation, definitely irritation. I fail to see the humor in factual data, Cadet Dorian. Yeah, I bet you do. He straightens up, wiping his eyes with the back of one hand. The movement is casual, loose, like he doesn't have a care in the universe. So let me get this straight. You're saying humans are basically, made of tissue paper and hope. I am saying that humans are structurally disadvantaged in physical combat scenarios when compared to other species, I correct, trying to maintain my academic tone. My fingers twitch though. There's something about the way he's looking at me, that grin never wavering, that makes the electric patterns under my skin start to itch. Right. Dorian nods sagely, then stands up. He stretches, arms over his head, and I hear his spine make several alarming popping sounds that would indicate severe injury in any Riftborn. He doesn't seem to notice. So you wouldn't mind a demonstration then? The temperature in the lecture hall seems to drop. A demonstration? I repeat. Yeah, He hops down from the tiered seating, landing on the floor below with an impact that should have shattered his supposedly fragile ankle bones. He doesn't even wobble. A sparring match. You and me, in the training arena. Show everyone just how physically inferior humans are. My metallic shimmer stutters. Both my orange eyes blink in sequence, a Riftborn nervous tell that I immediately regret. That would be inadvisable. Why? Afraid you'll prove your own point? His grin somehow gets wider. Afraid I will accidentally kill you, I snap back, and I mean it. The human masses may be 65 kilograms at most. I'm over 2 meters tall with reach he couldn't possibly match. Your own data supports my hypothesis. A sparring match would be dangerously one-sided. Then it should be quick and easy for you, right? Dorian cracks his knuckles. Another horrifying series of pops that make several cadets wince. Come on, Kael'yx. Unless the great tactical genius is worried about being wrong? Oh, he did not just question my academic integrity. My skin's shimmer flares brighter, electric patterns starting to trace across my forearms. Fine, I hear myself say, which is when I should have realized my pride had completely overridden my survival instincts. We spar. Instructor Scythia can officiate. As if summoned by her name, Instructor Scythia rises from her position at the back of the lecture hall. The Viperess moves with fluid grace, her pale jade skin catching the light as she glides down the steps. The snake-like tendrils that replace her hair float around her head in slow, hypnotic movements. Her 2 dark, reflective eyes fix on me, then Dorian, then back to me. You want to spar with the human, she says. her voice carrying that particular tone that instructors use when they know you're about to do something catastrophically stupid, but they're going to let you learn the lesson anyway. Yes, instructor, I reply, drawing myself up to my full height to demonstrate the principles of my presentation. Her tendrils writhe slightly, which I'm pretty sure is the viper's equivalent of a deeply exasperated sigh. Very well. Training arena. Now, before I change my mind and fail you both for gross stupidity. The walk to the training arena takes approximately 3 minutes, which gives me plenty of time to mentally compose the apology speech I'll need to deliver at Dorian's funeral. I deeply regret the unfortunate accident that claimed the life of Cadet Dorian. I rehearse internally as we enter the wide academy corridor. The viewport shows the star field beyond, countless lights that will continue burning long after I've accidentally committed manslaughter. His death was entirely my fault for not recognizing the extreme fragility of human physiology. Please accept this ceremonial blade as compensation for your loss. Do humans even use ceremonial blades at funerals? I should have paid more attention during xenocultural studies. Dorian, walking beside me, is still grinning, still stretching, rolling his shoulders, doing little bouncing steps like this is all some kind of game. The human seems completely unaware that he's volunteered for what is essentially assisted suicide. So, he says cheerfully, you gonna pull your punches or should I write a will real quick? The irony of him making the death joke is not lost on me. I will exercise appropriate restraint, I say stiffly. Instructor Scythia will stop the match if you are in danger of serious injury. Uh-huh. And what if you're in danger of serious injury? I turn both orange eyes toward him. That is not a relevant concern. If you say so, Stretch. He's given me a nickname. The human has nicknamed me Stretch, and we're about to engage in combat. This is how I die. Not in glorious battle or peaceful old age, but because I got cocky during a lecture and accidentally killed someone, then got executed for it. The training arena spreads before us as we enter, a circular pit with padded flooring that descends about a meter below the observation ring. Weapon racks line the walls, though Scythia waves one hand dismissively when I glance at them. Hand-to-hand only, she announces, her tendrils floating more rapidly now, agitated. The darker streaks in her jade skin have deepened slightly. She's stressed, which is not helping my own anxiety. First to submit or incapacitation. Cadet Kael'yx, you will demonstrate appropriate combat restraint. Cadet Dorian, you will. Scene T, she pauses, her reflective eyes studying the human with an expression I can't quite read. You will try not to permanently traumatize your opponent. Wait, what? No promises, instructor. Dorian calls out cheerfully, already climbing down into the pit. He bounces on his toes a few times, testing the padding, then settles into what I assume is a human combat stance. It looks completely wrong. His knees are bent too much, his center of gravity too low, his arms held loosely near his torso instead of extended for optimal reach. I descend into the pit with significantly more dignity, my long fingers flexing as I position myself opposite him. The scoreboard hovering overhead flickers to life, displaying our names and vital signs. My heart rate is elevated but controlled. Dorian's is. Dorian's actually lower than mine. The human is calmer than I am. That should have been my second warning sign. Scythia positions herself at the edge of the pit, her tendrils now standing almost rigid with tension. Combat protocols are in effect. Yield is verbal or 3 taps. Lethal techniques are prohibited. Her dark eyes fix on me specifically. Kael'yx, do you understand? Yes, instructor. My metallic shimmer pulses steadily. I have reach, height, and superior bone density. This will be quick. Dorian, do you understand? Yes, ma'am. He's still grinning. Then, begin. I move immediately, using my longer reach to my advantage. My right arm extends in a textbook strike toward Dorian's shoulder, calculated to be forceful enough to demonstrate superiority, but not enough to actually break anything. I'm being merciful. I'm being professional. Dorian isn't there anymore. He's ducked under my arm with a speed that should not be possible for a species with 40% lower muscle density, and suddenly he's inside my guard. One of his hands grabs my extended wrist, the other presses against my elbow, and then the entire world rotates. I'm on my back on the padded floor, staring up at the ceiling, my elongated head ringing from an impact I didn't see coming. Ooh, nice fall, Dorian comments from somewhere above me. You okay, Stretch? Need a minute? My shimmer is pulsing rapidly now, electric patterns starting to crawl across my skin, not from anger, from the first whisper of genuine concern. I roll backward, using my long limbs to create distance, and rise to my feet. Lucky strike, I mutter. Sure, let's go again. We engage again. This time I'm more cautious, using my range to keep him at a distance. I feint with my left hand, strike with my right. He blocks it. Impossible. His bone structure should have fractured from the impact, but his forearm meets mine with solid resistance, and he doesn't even flinch. He counters with a strike toward my midsection. I twist away, but not quite fast enough. His fist grazes my ribs, and even that glancing blow sends a spike of pain through my torso that lights up my entire shimmer like a warning beacon. What is he made of? That all you got? Dorian asks, and there's something in his tone now, not mockery, but anticipation, like he's enjoying this. We circle each other. My orange eyes are trying to track his movements, but he doesn't move like any opponent I've studied. There's no wasted motion, but also no predictable pattern. He shifts his weight randomly, rocks back and forth on his heels, keeps his hands in that too loose guard that should leave him vulnerable but somehow doesn't. I strike again. He redirects. I strike twice more in combination. He blocks one, dodges the other, and suddenly sweeps my legs. I'm falling again, but this time I'm ready. I twist midair, land on my hands, push off to flip back to my feet. It's a move I've practiced 1,000 times, and I execute it perfectly. Dorian whistles. Okay, that was actually pretty cool. My shimmer is pulsing so fast now it's almost strobing. The electric patterns are fully visible across my arms, my torso, crawling up my neck toward my elongated head. This is my body's stress response activating. This is my biology screaming at me that I am in danger. From a human. From a species I just spent 20 minutes explaining was physically inferior. I risk a glance at Instructor Scythia. Her tendrils are writhing frantically now, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the viperous equivalent of barely suppressed laughter. She knew. She knew this would happen. Ready for round 3? Dorian asks, and this time his grin has an edge to it. Not cruel, but definitely predatory. I realize with dawning horror that he's been holding back. Round 3 is when I start genuinely considering whether my insurance policy covers death by hubris. Dorian moves first this time, and the change in his approach is immediate and terrifying. Before, he was playing, testing. Now he's decided that I've seen enough mercy, and the human surges forward with a speed that makes every lecture I've ever attended about human limitations feel like a personal attack on reality itself. I backpedal, my long legs giving me the reach to stay ahead of him, but barely. He's not just fast, he's relentless. Every time I think I've created enough space to reset my guard, he's already closed the distance. My extra long fingers are designed for precision strikes and grappling at range. But I can't grapple what I can't catch. He feints left, I bite on it like an idiot, and his right fist connects with my midsection. Not hard enough to truly injure, but hard enough that all the air evacuates my lungs in one undignified wheeze. The impact sends my metallic shimmer into absolute chaos, electric patterns erupting across my entire body like a distress beacon visible from orbit. Still feeling superior? Dorian asks, and there's that grin again. I can't respond because I'm too busy trying to remember how breathing works. He doesn't press the advantage, which is somehow worse. He just backs off a step, bouncing on his toes, waiting for me to recover. The scoreboard overhead shows my heart rate has spiked to concerning levels. His is still perfectly steady, like he's taking a casual stroll instead of dismantling everything I thought I knew about comparative biology. Okay, I gasp, straightening up. My bony ridge crest is tingling intensely now, a sensation that usually only happens during extreme stress. Okay, different approach. I try to use my academic knowledge. Humans have limited flexibility in certain joints. Their spines don't rotate as far as most species. Their knees are structurally vulnerable. I just need to exploit these weaknesses. I circle right, forcing him to turn. Then I drop low and sweep toward his legs, aiming for the knee joint. It's a technique that should hyperextend the joint, end the fight cleanly. Dorian jumps. Not a small hop, but a full vertical leap that takes him completely over my sweep. He tucks his legs midair, rotates, and lands behind me. Behind me. The human is behind me. I spin, but I'm too slow. He's already grabbed the back of my uniform with both hands, and then I'm being pulled backward, off balance. My arms windmill uselessly as I fall, and this time when I hit the padded floor, Dorian comes down with me. His knee presses between my shoulder blades, pinning me flat. Yield? He asks conversationally, like he's asking about the weather. My shimmer is flashing so rapidly, I'm probably inducing seizures in photosensitive species. No, I hiss, more out of wounded pride than actual strategy. Suit yourself. He releases me and backs off again. I scramble to my feet, my dark slate skin now completely covered in electric patterns. I look like a biological warning label. I feel like one too. Instructor Scythia's voice cuts through my panic. Kael'yx, you may yield at any time. There is no shame in acknowledging a superior opponent. Superior, she said, superior. About the human, about the species I've been explaining is inferior for the past half hour. I'm starting to suspect I may have made a tactical error. I'm fine, instructor, I lie, because apparently I haven't learned anything today. My orange eyes focus on Dorian, who's still doing those little bouncing movements. He doesn't look tired, he doesn't even look winded. Meanwhile, I'm fairly certain I'm experiencing the early stages of a cardiovascular event. You know, Dorian says, rolling his shoulders, you're actually pretty good. Technically perfect form, good instincts, you've just got one problem. And what's that? I ask, resetting my stance for what I'm increasingly certain will be my final attack. You fight like someone who learned from books. His grin shifts into something that might be sympathetic if it wasn't also absolutely terrifying. I learned from my older brothers, and they learned from bar fights, and bar fights don't give a damn about skeletal density comparisons. That's when he rushes me again, and this time there's no testing, no playing, no mercy. He's just demonstrating exactly what humans are capable of when they stop pretending to be civilized. I manage to land one strike. My fist catches his shoulder with what should be fight-ending force. He grunts, acknowledges the hit with a nod, and then proceeds to completely dismantle my defense like he's taking apart a particularly boring puzzle. He's inside my guard. His elbow strikes my ribs. I bend forward instinctively, and his knee comes up to meet my midsection. I stagger backward, and he sweeps my legs again. I'm falling, again, and somewhere in my oxygen-deprived brain, I'm wondering if there's an afterlife and whether they'll let me in after dying of embarrassment in front of my entire class. I hit the padding hard enough that my bony ridge crest cracks against the floor and stars explode across my vision. Through the disorientation, I feel Dorian grab one of my arms, twist it behind my back in a joint lock that's perfectly calculated to be uncomfortable without causing damage, and press his weight down to keep me pinned. Yield, he says. Not a question this time. My shimmer is pulsing so weakly now, it's barely visible. The electric patterns have faded to dim tracery across my skin. I'm exhausted, injured, and thoroughly defeated by a species I literally just finished explaining was physically inferior. Yield, I whisper, and tap the mat 3 times with my free hand. Dorian releases me immediately and stands up. He offers me a hand, that perpetual grin still on his face. I stare at it for a moment, my orange eyes trying to comprehend how those fingers just systematically destroyed my entire worldview. I take his hand. He pulls me to my feet with casual ease, and I stumble slightly as my long legs remember how standing works. Good match, Dorian says, and he sounds like he means it. You got solid fundamentals. Just need more practical experience. Solid fundamentals. The human is giving me combat advice after using me to mop the arena floor. Instructor Scythia glides down into the pit, her tendrils floating more calmly now. The darker streaks in her jade skin have lightened, and her reflective eyes hold what I can only describe as profound amusement. Cadet Kael'yx, do you have any thoughts on your presentation material? Any revisions you might want to make? I look at her. I look at Dorian, who's stretching again like he's just finished a light warm-up. I look down at my own trembling hands, still covered in fading electric patterns. Humans, I say slowly, may possess greater physical capability than initial skeletal analysis would suggest. Dorian barks out a laugh. That's one way to put it. Their muscle density, while technically lower on average, appears to be utilized with significantly greater efficiency than comparable species. Their joint flexibility exceeds standard documented ranges. Their pain tolerance is... I trail off, remembering the moment I landed that one solid strike and he just kept coming. Alarming. Additionally, Scythia adds, her tendrils swaying gently, humans possess what we call practical adaptability. They don't fight by the rules because they evolved on a death world where following rules meant becoming food. Their entire combat philosophy is based on winning by any means necessary. Death world? I repeat weakly. Oh yeah, Dorian says cheerfully. Earth's a nightmare if you're not from there. Pretty much everything is trying to kill you at all times. Builds character. My shimmer pulses once, weakly, which is my body's way of saying it's given up trying to process this information. Your presentation suggested Earth was a relatively benign Class M planet. It is, compared to the really bad ones. He grins again, and this time I notice his teeth, Flat, mostly except for those slightly pointed canines. Omnivore teeth. Predator teeth. How did I miss that? You should see Venus, or Australia, or really anywhere near the equator during summer, or winter if you're near the poles, or autumn because of hurricanes, or spring because of tornadoes. He counts off on his fingers. Honestly, Earth's pretty consistently terrible year-round. We're very proud of it. I am going to need so much therapy after this. Come on, Scythia says, gesturing toward the arena exit with one graceful arm. Medical bay, both of you. I'm fine, Dorian protests. You took a direct strike from a rift-born to the shoulder. You're getting scanned. Her tendrils writhe once, sharply. And Kael'yx needs his pride checked for fractures. The walk to the medical bay is humiliating. We pass other cadets in the academy corridor, and I can see them staring. News has already spread. The Riftborn who gave a presentation on human physical inferiority got absolutely demolished by the human in question. I'm going to be a cautionary tale told to first-year students for generations. Hey, Dorian says as we walk, apparently oblivious to my existential crisis. No hard feelings, right? You seem like a decent guy. Just maybe do a bit more field research before your next presentation. Field research, I repeat numbly. Yeah, actually spar with different species, get hands-on data. He punches my arm lightly, which I barely feel through my general full-body ache. Books are great, but they don't tell you everything. Like how humans can dislocate their own joints and pop them back in. That's not in any anatomy text, but it's really useful in a fight. You can what? Dislocate our joints, mostly shoulders, sometimes thumbs. Hurts like hell, but you can escape from a lot of holds that way. He demonstrates with a rolling motion of his shoulder that makes sounds no joint should make. Freaks people out. My shimmer tries to pulse an alarm, but I think I've exhausted my body's capacity for stress responses. I'm just numb now, emotionally and physically numb. The medical bay doors slide open with a soft hiss, revealing the sterile white interior. Regeneration pods line the walls, their transparent surfaces gleaming under the bright lights. Diagnostic screens float everywhere, already activating as we enter to begin their scans. A medical drone buzzes over immediately, its sensors sweeping across both of us. It hovers in front of Dorian for a long moment, makes a confused beeping sound, scans him again, then displays a message on its screen. Minor soft tissue bruising. Recommended treatment, none. Human standard healing protocol sufficient. Then it turns to me. The scan takes longer, much longer. Finally, the display updates. Multiple contusions, elevated stress hormone levels, minor spinal compression, recommended treatment, regeneration pod cycle, 6 hours, psychological counseling referral attached. Even the medical drone thinks I need therapy. Pod 3, the drone chirps, its mechanical voice somehow managing to sound sympathetic. It guides me toward one of the regeneration pods with gentle insistence. I climb in reluctantly, my long limbs folding into the cushioned interior. The pod's lid begins to close, and through the transparent surface I can see Dorian giving me a cheerful wave. See you in class tomorrow, stretch. He calls out. Maybe we can study together sometime. You're really smart, just need to balance the book learning with practical stuff. The human wants to study with me. The human, who just used me as a demonstration dummy, wants to be study partners. I don't know whether to be horrified or honored. The regeneration pod hums to life, and a warm, tingling sensation spreads through my body as the healing cycle begins. My metallic shimmer, which has been flashing erratically this entire time, finally starts to settle into a more normal rhythm. The electric patterns fade completely. My orange eyes drift closed despite my best efforts to stay alert. As consciousness begins to blur at the edges, my last coherent thought is that I need to completely redo my presentation. Maybe title it, Why Humans Are Terrifying and We Should All Be Very Respectful. Or possibly, How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Fear the Death World Species. Or maybe just, I'm sorry, I was wrong about everything. When I wake 6 hours later, the first thing I see is a notification on my datapad. It's from Dorian. He sent me his notes from the xenobiology course we share, along with a message. Thought these might help with your research. Also found this funny article about human history you might like. Did you know we used to hunt mammoths by just walking after them until they got tired? For DA sometimes. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Attached is a document titled Persistence Hunting and Why Humans Are Endurance Nightmares. I read it. Then I read it again. Then I seriously consider filing a formal request to transfer to a different academy on a different planet in a different sector of space. Humans, it turns out, are not just capable of extreme bursts of physical activity, they can also just keep going for hours, days. They can outlast almost any prey species through sheer stubborn refusal to stop moving. They're not the fastest or strongest, but they're the most relentless. They're pursuit predators with enough endurance to chase their targets until those targets literally collapse from exhaustion, which explains a lot about my sparring match, actually. My shimmer pulses weakly, the electric pattern starting to trace across my skin again just from the stress of reading. Somewhere in the medical bay, I can hear the diagnostic screens beeping in concern. I need to send an apology to every human in the academy, and possibly the entire human species. And definitely to Dorian, who somehow managed to teach me more about practical combat in 5 minutes than I learned in 2 years of tactical courses. My datapad chimes with another message. It's from Instructor Scythia. Your revised presentation is due next week. I expect significant improvements in your research methodology. Also, I'm making the sparring match mandatory viewing for all tactical students. You're welcome. I let my elongated head fall back against the pod's cushioning and seriously contemplate whether it's too late to change my major to something safe, like theoretical mathematics or poetry. Anything that doesn't involve getting destroyed by species I've catastrophically underestimated. My shimmer pulses one last time, then settles into the dimmest glow possible, which I think is my body's way of expressing complete and utter defeat. Humans are terrifying. Earth is a death world. Everything I knew was wrong, and I have a study date with the creature who taught me all of this by using my body as a percussion instrument. I'm never living this down. 3 weeks later, I'm sitting in the academy cafeteria with Dorian, and somehow this has become routine. So you're saying, he says around a mouthful of something that smells vaguely toxic, that rift-born courting rituals involve synchronized mathematics? Computational poetry, I correct, pushing my own meal around the plate with one long finger. My shimmer pulses with mild embarrassment. It's considered very romantic. That's actually kind of sweet. He grins at me. That same grin that used to terrify me, and now just means he's about to say something ridiculous. Way better than human dating. We just awkwardly stare at each other and hope someone makes the first move. My revised presentation was submitted last week. The title, A Comprehensive Reevaluation of Human Combat Capability, a Personal Case Study. Instructor Scythia gave me top marks and only made 3 sarcastic comments about how getting beaten senseless can be educational. The mandatory viewing she threatened, she went through with it. I'm now famous across the entire academy as that guy who learned about humans the hard way. Someone made a compilation video of all my most dramatic falls set to music. It has 15,000 views. I should be mortified. Somehow, I'm not anymore. Hey, Dorian says, pulling me from my thoughts. You okay? Your shimmer's doing that flickery thing. The fact that he's learned to read my emotional tells should probably concern me. Instead, it's oddly comforting. Just thinking about the presentation and the sparring match and my complete academic humiliation. Oh, come on. He reaches across the table and punches my shoulder lightly, the same casual violence that used to panic me. Now I barely flinch. You learned something. That's what the academy's for, right? Plus, you're a way better fighter now. We've been practicing. This is true. We spar twice a week now. I still lose every single time, but I last longer. Small victories. Besides, Dorian continues, leaning back in his chair, you taught me something too. What? How to completely destroy someone's worldview in under 5 minutes? Nah. You taught me that not everyone from fancy warrior species is a stuck-up jerk. You actually listened when I explained stuff. Most people just assume humans are either useless or terrifying, nothing in between. His grin softens into something more genuine. You're a good friend, Stretch. My shimmer pulses bright and steady, electric patterns tracing briefly across my skin. Not from stress this time, from something else entirely. You are not terrible yourself, I manage, for a death world nightmare creature. I'll take it.